All right, so it's preparing our live stream on YouTube.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go on the YouTube app, see what the dealio is. It's preparing us to do this live, my love.
Okay.
So I don't know if you heard that in the background, but I went ahead and muted the live audio
Yeah.
because I don't want that feedback getting into the live and then it
Yeah.
just disrupts our whole flow. But anyways, hey guys, what's up? What's up? What's up? Sorry to
What's up? What's
um,
up?
end the first live abruptly. Um, my partner said that she wanted to hop up on his live and she wanted to do it with me. So obviously we're on this live right now. And so is there anything that you want to say to the audience on YouTube?
It's lovely to be here again. And send unconditional love to you all and happy, healing, unifying energy.
Yeah. and yeah, so for the guys that didn't see the first part of the live, I don't know if I'll keep that up or not. But just so you guys know, we're in a bit of a dire situation right now when it comes to my job. And so what went down was, as I was working on repairing a customer's windshield right at one of the dealerships that I work at in Houston, um, I was just like going ahead and, the technician was done. And as I was about to put the bridge on top of the other chip, I asked the technician, like, hey, are you done using, are you done repairing the car? And may I take it to the wash? And he was like, yeah, sure, go ahead, man, because, I built up kind of rapport with them and they've known me for working there since September. Yeah. And so, it was a stick shift. And even though I did not know how to drive stick shift, so I decided to give it a try anyways, which was one of the biggest mistakes I've made. I'm just gonna admit that. And
Baby,
so I decided to try it anyway.
slow down a little bit. You're talking
Yes.
fast and it's the audio is going in and out. So try to slow down a little bit. So maybe that'll stop a little bit, okay?
Yeah. Hey, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, it was just like I guess the internet connection was going in and out. But anyways, I was saying that, I built up some sort of rapport with them. And me not knowing how to drive stick shift, I decided to go ahead and try it anyways, which was a bad idea from the start. And so I thought I put the gear in reverse, but it wound up going forward and it wound up going faster than I thought. And then the technician was screaming, hey, stop, stop, stop. But if anybody knows how to drive stick shift cars, you know that there's three pedals. And so I didn't know which one I was clicking on, and it just wound up going forward and it went smack right into the technician's locker door where they normally store their tools and stuff. And so I noticed that the whole energy change, and just in that moment, just like that, it went from being a normal day at work to where I'm just repairing windows to now just turning into a really, really bad day. And one of the technicians asked me, hey, are you all right? I was like, yeah, man, I'm just a bit shaken up right now. And then one of the shop foremen walks up to me and he says, from now on, you're not allowed to drive any cars in here or out of here. And he was yelling very loudly to his whole crew, nobody else is allowed in here except for technicians. Just making it loud and clear. And then after that went on, I did the noble thing, which was to tell my boss immediately. I wanted him to hear it out of the horse's mouth rather than hearing it from the main man in charge of the dealership. I said, hey, I'm in a bit of a bad situation here. And then I told him what I told you guys. And then he was like, this is not looking good, buddy. And he asked, and then I told him it was a stick shift car. And he was like, do you even know how to drive stick shifts? And I told him, no, I don't. And he was like, well, that's not a good place to learn, bud. And so a few minutes go by, like about 10 to 20 minutes. And then he calls me again and he says, just go home, Evan. I'll just take it over from here. And so, literally, as I got into the car to go drive back to my friend's house, the whole car ride, I kid you not, I was crying like a baby the whole ride because I just felt so horrible about what happened. And there's just this heavy, dense energy just weighed on me for the entire day. And flash forward to today. Um, when I woke up, I was thought like, okay, everything's my boss has it taken care of. I'm just gonna go ahead, brush my teeth, get dressed like normal, and then he gives me a text saying, hey, don't worry about coming into work today. I'll call you to let you know what happens after that, or something like that. And I was like, gee, man, this can't be good. And so, you know, I told my significant other, the one who's on this live, the the updates, and she called me to give me a word of encouragement today. And she was, telling me to use this opportunity opportunity to turn this negative into a positive, and just see the lesson in it, and to not get so bogged down emotionally, because I'm not saying that I have mastered the universal laws, but I know about it enough at this point to where I know that if I think about something constantly, or if I feed my energy to something, it will manifest into physical reality. And so she had me listen to this country song. I don't remember the exact artist. She can tell you guys.
Everything's Gonna Be All Right by Kenny Chesney.
Yes, make sure, guys, that if you're having a rough day today, I don't care what you're going through. I don't care if you went through a breakup, you got fired, or whatever happened. Go listen to that song. Trust me, you're going to feel 10 times better than you do now. And so that's just like a little hack for you to raise your vibration. Or if that sounds too woo for you, boost your mood.
Whatever
So
songs that make you feel better, that's a way to stay in your higher vibration, even when obstacles get in our way and things happen that's out of our control, or we have bad things coming and happen to us. You don't have to stay in that vibration to where it'll bring you way down to a lower vibration, and you'll mess up all your progress. So, also Bob Proctor is the one who I learned this little hack from. He said, I have bad days too, just like everybody else, but I always recover really fast because I always have a song in my head, or I sing one of my favorite songs, and I do something like that, and it helps elevate me quickly. So, I mean, whatever that feel good music is you like, or a movie, or book or a poem, it's whatever puts you in that really good, happy state really quick is what helps you recover from setbacks and helps you stay in a higher vibration.
Yes, 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 yes. And we just have to remember, guys, that all situations in life are temporary and that we can't get so hung up and dwell in these negative situations. Even if situations to where you're 100% responsible for. And you just have to remember that stuff happens in life. Nothing goes as planned. And I'm not saying that my boss is going to let me go, but we were saying at the same time, me and my significant other, that we're going to be okay regardless and just detach from the outcome. Because I don't know what my boss is going to do from this point. I can't control what he chooses to do, but I
Or
know
just
I
up
can
to the
control.
universe.
Yeah,
Let them take
that's
care of it.
yeah, because we have to
We've
stay.
done all we can do on our end. Now it's time to
Yes,
relinquish that control and give it to the higher powers where they can take it from there.
yes, and before we move on to the next point, we just want to say, guys, like, hey, I know we haven't been as consistent at putting out videos every week like we used to because I've been working, but we just had talked this morning saying like we have all this free time at the end is like you can start cranking out at least one live a day. You don't have to do multiple lives like you used to in a day, like you used to on Facebook, which I
And it
did a
can
lot
be
when I was.
and it can be short lives, short.
Yeah,
They don't have to be really
yeah,
long and drawn out, but you know, just give people updates, little messages, that helps them with their day.
yes. And speaking of lives, this is kind of nostalgic for me because when I was in high school, when Facebook Lives first became a thing and it became popular, I was doing lives every single weekend, Fridays to Sundays at 6 p.m. If you guys haven't been following me that long, I used to do that. And I used to have fun doing those Facebook Lives, even if nobody was watching, even if it be me doing something totally wacky and wild.
Yeah, but we
I,
established that you were doing those for all the wrong reasons.
yeah,
So, and they wasn't getting you nowhere. So,
nope,
but now you have purpose. Now you have a platform where people really want to hear what you have to say and they value what you have to say and they're willing to help you on the come up. Like people on YouTube support each other. It is like a family. And it's team YouTube against everybody else. We help our brothers and sisters on YouTube. We try to support each other. I support a lot of different channels by subscribing to them and I comment and stuff. I even have bought merch from some of them. I bought merch from our channel. I bought merch from another channel that I really enjoy. And I would buy more merch from other ones. I watch KSI. I watch a lot of tarot reader channels. I can't even tell you how much. I watched psychology channels. I mean, YouTube is my go-to. I mean,
yeah,
and
same.
like I said, me and him, we're trying to make this our full-time thing, but we can't do it by ourselves. We need help. We
Yes,
need
we
help
do.
from our from the YouTube family. We need y'all support right now, really bad. And we're not
Yes,
coming from
all
a place of
600 of y'all.
yeah, we're not coming from a place of desperation. We're coming from a place of if y'all love us and y'all want to see more of us, then please help support us. Because then we can make more
Yes.
of these. We can spend more time, put more quality into these messages and bringing them out more frequently. But we need help. We are really really counting on our spiritual community and the YouTube community to really step up and help us out. Reach hey, let's try to reach at least 1,000 subs by the end of this month. I mean, that would be wonderful. And
Yes.
maybe like support by um sharing our channel and maybe even supporting with money, whatever's on your heart. We
Yeah.
would, we'd like y'all to please support us because we really, really need it right now. I mean, we're going to
Yeah.
be good either way, but we would really love it if y'all could come through and help us out. I
Yeah,
know
because you
everybody's hurting right
guys,
now with the economy the way it is and what's going on out there, but I know a lot of YouTubers are doing really good right now. I know a lot of entrepreneurs are doing right good right now, and it'd be nice for them to share the love a little bit.
yes. Yes, yes, yes. And like we said, we're not begging right now because honestly, we can make our own money. We're hustlers. We get it. We get after it. But it's like in order for us to really move to the next threshold and for us to really fulfill our purpose, your guys' help is going to help us get to that next level. Because we've done everything we could by ourselves. I mean, we're a dynamic team. We're a dynamic duo. But just having multiple hands on deck, that's going to help us to reach our goal quicker and most importantly fulfill our purpose. More than money, more than fame, because those are all just tools. But the
We're
main
here
thing
to serve.
is,
Our main goal is to serve others, to help with the solution, to help
yes,
people with solutions, not create more problems. We just want to put out positive, uplifting, real, truthful messages that actually helps everyone on a personal level, that you can apply to your life now.
yes, 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 yes. And that's why we started this YouTube channel in the first place, is to be a service to humanity. We didn't just do this just to make a crap load of money and have our, heads up high.
We haven't
Although we
made any
know,
money at all off
yeah,
of YouTube.
yeah, we've been just steadily just working at it. We haven't made a dime off of YouTube, but I know the time will come to where YouTube will be our full-time thing. But like she
Yeah.
said, in order for us to accomplish that, we need your guys' hands on deck. If you can't give money right now, go ahead and leave a thumbs up, subscribe, share the videos
Ask
with
us
your friends and
questions.
fam.
Give us some topics that y'all would like us to bring out into the light on our channel, and we will discuss them. We will put some videos up on those to the best of our abilities. We'll do the research. It takes us a long time to put up videos. We research what we put up. We want it to be
Yes.
valuable content. So we really put a lot of time and effort into what we do. I know it looks easy, but it's really not. There's a lot
It's
of work
not.
goes into it. I know a lot of these YouTubers out here make it seem really easy and tell you to just press the record button, but there's more that goes into it than that.
Yeah. You
And
know,
they're not being realistic whenever they're telling you that, and it's wrong.
yeah, because they're not telling you how much of a grind YouTube is. And this is not to complain at all. We're not complaining at all. We're just giving you guys a reality check here that if you
Yeah,
want to do YouTube, you're going to have to pour your soul, your mind,
yeah.
your heart, your energy,
Your
your
blood, your sweat, your
resources.
tears, everything. I mean, we've been
Like
at this for
this,
2 years and we've only reached 600 and something subs so far. 2 years.
yes. Yes, and recording a video a day. And I've reached there was a point in my YouTube career where I was shooting 6 videos in a day and editing them in a day, making all the thumbnails for them in a day, and then releasing them every single Friday. So you can tell we take this seriously. We're not just effing around and saying that, oh, we're YouTubers, but we're only putting up a video a month. Like, you're not really going all in. Like,
No.
dude, we take this ultra serious, you know. But I've slowed down from that because I wanted to make sure that you guys are getting the highest quality videos. Because I know that when I'm tasked with a lot to do, I'm just tempted to want to just get through it all as fast as possible. But
Yeah, and
yeah,
it's better quality videos when we can slow down and focus just solely on making the videos.
yes, and I've seen some of you guys' comments for especially on the male and female personality traits videos. You guys have really responded positively to that, and you guys have told me some of your stories. Like, I'm paying attention. I may not respond to every comment, but I make sure I heart it, and I make sure to let you guys know. I'm letting y'all know right now is that I love the feedback that you guys give me. I love that you guys are gaining something from our channel. We're not just taking away your valuable time, because we care about our fellow our soul brothers and sisters. We care about helping to uplift every single person that watches the lives, that watches the pre-recorded videos, that takes the time to write out a thoughtful, heartfelt comment. We are
Yes, we do.
thankful. We are thankful from the bottom of our heart and our soul for your
And
guys'
we
help.
we thank we thank y'all for just watching, even if y'all don't do any of that stuff. We thank you for just
Yes.
giving us a chance and actually watching our videos and sharing them with your family and your friends and anybody you think that our videos could help. We really, really, really deeply appreciate every bit of that. We really do. We are honored to be able to do this for you guys. And like I said, even
Yes.
if you can't, even if you don't feel moved to subscribe or leave a comment or share it or anything, we still appreciate you just for being here. We really
Yes.
do.
And spending your quality time with us that you could be doing everything else, but you're choosing to spend it with us, even if it's only like 30 seconds to a minute or even 5 seconds. We're thankful that you guys are giving us that chance to allow us to come into your world and to have this conversation with you. And another point that I wanted to dive into this video is, letting go of the illusion of control. The reason why I got inspired to bring this point into this video in particular is because on my day to work, I was listening to a Mind Valley episode where Vision Likiani, the founder of Mind Valley, had a speaker. I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try. It's very complicated. I think he is a yogi or something from the Middle East, but um, the speaker was saying something that really moved me and caught my ears, is that the reason what it all comes down to, the main reason why we're stressed in life, the source of all of our stress, is we're clinging on to the illusion of control. And a lot of times we try so hard to try to control our external environment, to try to control other people, to try to control our bosses, to try to control our customers, to try to control how our business does, and try to control the marketplace. it,
And
it doesn't matter
we
how.
have no control over any of those things. The only
Not at
thing we
all.
can control is us. That's it. And when you learn that, you would be far in a far better place than you trying to control everything that you can't control in the first place.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
everything happens by design. You think you have control, but you don't. You never did. You made a plan when you came to this planet, and that plan will be followed right down to the letter.
Yes. And whatever is meant for you will be for you. You know, a lot of people, when they set goals, they try to control the timeline, and you have all of these authors and so-called gurus telling you, "Oh, set smart goals. Make sure you put a timetable when you're going to achieve that goal." It is not advised that you do that at all. The only thing you should be doing is focusing on the process and on the journey itself. You see, when you focus on the goal, you wind up not achieving it. But
Well,
when you
also,
focus,
if you focus on the goal and you're just focusing on the goal, you feel very let down when you can't meet those expectations. You set the expectations for yourself that you can't achieve in that period of time. You don't realize that at the time you're not going to be able to achieve it, but that's really, in my opinion. Now, this is just my opinion, so don't get cross with me and don't get triggered. But my opinion is that you're trying to compete with others when you set goals for yourself, because
mhm,
your race is not everybody else's race. The things that will happen, I mean, I think the best thing we can do is just set intentions for what we want to achieve, but not give ourselves any kind of time limit. It will achieve it when it happens. That gives divine timing the ability to come in and do its job. Because see, if we're setting a goal for ourselves, we're trying to control when this happens, and we don't have that control. We do not have that. So it creates more anxiety and more stress for yourself when you say, okay, I'm gonna make $1 million in a year. Now, if you haven't set up income streams on the side to where that can actually be achievable, then that's an unattainable goal. And then at
yeah,
the end of the year, you're gonna feel like crap because you're gonna be like, well, I didn't even make $200 this year, much less 1 million. I feel like a failure. I'm never gonna be anything. I'm never gonna amount to anything. I couldn't even keep up keep up with this goal that I made for myself. See, you have to set realistic goals. And here's the thing: if you're going to set goals for yourself, set mini goals and treat everything as a victory. Like you woke up this morning, man, praise the Lord, man. Say, hey, thank you. I got up this morning. I'm able to breathe. I can live, man. Start thinking and celebrating every single thing in your life instead of like making these unrealistic expectations and unrealistic goals for yourself that you have no control over anyway. Just set an intention and work towards that intention. There's another couple on Mind Valley, and I can't think of their names right now, but they have the life book. And that life book helps you with every single area of your life and how to come to get where you need to be. But see, if you set goals that you're never going to be able to accomplish in the amount of time that you think you should accomplish it in, they have a whole chapter in the life book for that. And you can't feel like a failure because you didn't make it right then. I mean, you have to look at all the successful people out there. You have to look at the people in our past, in history, like Albert Einstein, like Thomas Edison, like some of the greatest inventors out there, like Da Vinci. You have to look at all that. All that
the
stuff
Wright
was not built
brothers.
in a day. right? That wasn't built in a day. They had many, 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 many failures before they reached success. I mean, even the founder of KSC, Colonel Sanders, he didn't become rich and successful until he was already well into his 60s, I believe, 50s or 60s. Same thing with Walt Disney. Rome wasn't built in a day, people. It was not built in a day. It took many, 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 many years to build this stuff, right? So giving yourself a timeline like that. Now, what would be more realistic is saying, okay, I'm gonna make $1 million in 5 years, because then you can work up to that. And if you don't achieve it in 5 years, you say that's okay. I'm gonna get it though. I'm on the right track. And you celebrate those achievements along the way, because it's about the journey, not about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about all the things you learn along the way. It's about all those little wins along the way. It's about all them things that people overlook and don't even give thanks for, don't show gratitude for. I mean, how about you just get up and tell God, or source or whatever, hey, you know what? Thank you. Just thank you. Not because you got something, not because you've got blessings, not because you were created, not because anything else, just because. Just say thank you. You know what I'm saying? When the more of that you put out, the more positive things are going to come to you. The more blessings are going to come to you. The more abundance is going to come to you. Everything good is going to come back to you, because you're sending out the kind of energy you want to come back. The universe will see that as good and see you as wanting it, because the universe don't discriminate. You put bad things out, that's what you get back. You put good things out, that's what you get back. Whatever you focus on is what the universe says, okay, I see you want more of this, so I'm going to give it to you. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So the more good things you put out and the more positive you can be in your life, and the more you can take negatives and turn them into positives, the better off you're going to be, and the faster you're going to be able to get to the lifestyle, the life you want to lead. The quicker you're going to get there if you change just that up. You don't understand, something that small can make huge waves. I mean, ginormous waves. Just a small little tiny thing like that. You may think it's small and it's not going to make a difference, but it does. And that's how you do it. It's just like that story. The two kids was talking to each other, and one asked, said, "Well, how do you eat an elephant, brother?" And he said, "One bite at a time." Same way you do with anything. One step at a time. One day at a time. One moment at a time. Take everything in small doses and celebrate those. When you achieve that little goal, celebrate it. And then you'll be able to, the more you celebrate those little wins, the more those big wins will start coming in. But you have to learn to celebrate your life, celebrate the journey, give thanks. Even if you're not getting anything, give thanks anyway. Thank the universe, thank the gods, thank whatever you pray to for, stuff you haven't got yet. Because then you're sending out the energy into the universe to get those things. The universe responds to what you put out. And that's about all I got to say about that.
Wow, that was phenomenal, baby. Like those, you really hit the nail right on the coffin. See, when you see, I knew. my spirit was right. It's like, let her on the live, man. Just stop the first one, let her on. And so that so that y'all can hear her. Because honestly, if it wasn't for her encouragement and her help, this channel would not even exist at all. Like, this channel would still be an afterthought. I would still be sitting in college right now, miserable. I would still be procrastinating on starting a channel. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's more
And I would
like
still
that
be
wouldn't be,
procrastinating.
this channel wouldn't be here, your podcast wouldn't be here, you know, your web page you're trying to start wouldn't be here. I mean, a lot of things that you wanted that you weren't encouraged and supported in wouldn't be here because I came in and I gave you that support and that unconditional love to grow in and encouragement to follow your dreams and do the things that you really want to do, but you didn't have the courage to do at the time.
No,
So
I didn't. But, speaking of multiple sources of income, she helped me with that as well. I wrote a book during quarantine. I started my merch store. I started having online courses. Like, I have two online courses out, one teaching photography and videography. I wouldn't have started building up passive streams of income if it wasn't for her help and her encouragement, because I knew about it way before I met her, but I was just like dragging my feet and being a tire kicker and not really taking action on the information and building up those different passive sources of income. But the point is, we have that set up now. Plus, we have some more in the works. We're working
and that's how
on,
y'all can support us too. Go to our merch store and pick up some cool merch. We're always coming out with more designs and more cool, things that we say on the channel and stuff and everything. We're working towards that and cool. Help me out, baby. What images and stuff to go on our um merch. So go copy some of that merch, man, and wear it out. You
yes.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I know I don't have my signature short on right now because, I didn't wash it in time. That's on me.
You're gonna have
But
to
that
send
shirt
me
is
a
still
signature
available.
chart so I can wear one too.
The spirituality never stops. You know what I mean? So yeah, I got you on that in my love. And also, we're working
Hey, you
on
know
getting a
what? We need to
website.
make another spirituality never stops with a nice big sunflower on it for the ladies.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, then also, guys, we have a website in the works to where we'll make exclusive content for you guys, because with the direction YouTube and other social media platforms are going, it's not looking good. People's channels and videos are getting taken down left and right. And so we're gonna have a
They're being
subscription.
censored
Yeah.
and their free speech is being taken away. So yeah, we're trying to get something in the works where y'all can find us, even if we're not able to be on here anymore.
Yeah, even if
God
for some
forbid we
reason.
will be able to stay on here, but if not, y'all still be able to find us.
Yeah, and we'll have our own safe space to where we can say whatever we want to say. And, you know,
And
we'll
we're also
also
working
have,
on Vimeo, a
and
Vimeo account
Patreon.
too. Yeah, Vimeo and Patreon where y'all can get some extras
Yeah,
that
get
don't
extra
that ain't
goodies.
on this channel.
Yeah, because, we want to give you guys the most, and we want to, and I know that we've already worked to where our videos are high quality. So we're gonna have to step it up a notch when we start releasing paid content. Like, we're gonna have to do what we do on this channel, but go twice as hard on making that top quality. Not to say we won't still make these free videos top quality, but to just challenge ourselves to make, if you're going to be shelling out a certain amount of money every month, we want to make sure we give you your money's worth and give you plenty of content to take and run with, do whatever you want with it, except for reselling. Don't be reselling our content. Don't do that. you
Well, we'll
know?
have a disclaimer in there anyway, a watermark, something where
Yeah,
nobody can take our content.
yeah.
So,
Also, another point we want to speak on is turn a negative into a positive. And with us, we've been through the ringer. All of you guys have been through the ringer of some sort. I don't know exactly what you guys have been through in your life, but I will tell you, you think that going through a spiritual awakening is going to be a rosy peachy experience. Take it from me, I used to think the same thing when I first started seeing spirituality quotes way back in 2014. I thought, like, dang man, this sounds blissful, this is where it's at. I want to meditate. I want to open my third eye. I even went to a phase where I tried to become vegan, but my body was very strongly against it. My body was like, heck no. Like, just eating salad all day is not going to cut it. I was obsessed with trying to open my third eye. But
yeah, and
as
it
I
led
was
to
going
you
down,
actually being physically ill from that. I mean, like passing out and getting dizzy spells and stuff like that. So, I mean, your body rejected that. So, but it's different for everybody. We're not advocating everybody be vegan. We're not advocating everybody, you know, um, be plant based. We're not advocating for do what your body tells you to do. Eat what your
yes,
body tells you to eat. Listen to your body. Listen to yourself. And there's different energy exercises you can do to see if your body wants something or not. It will resist if it doesn't want it.
yeah,
So there are exercises, and Donna Eden can show you that. She's also on Mind Valley, so go check her out too. Shout out to her.
yeah. And not to mention, at the beginning of my spiritual path, I felt extremely resentful and irritable. So if you combine all of those elements together, you know, you wouldn't want to be around me because my energy was just very off. I was resentful at the world. I was resentful at my family. I was resentful at every freaking body. But to save y'all from going through that, I'm gonna tell you this: the best advice I can give you is just, you're not going to wake up overnight. Like, this stuff is gradual. Don't try to rush to your awakening into being enlightened. Don't try to
Well,
rush it.
I noticed that a lot of the spiritual people will be like, I spiritually awakened this time, at this hour, and this and that. I've been spiritually awakened in my whole life, and I'm 40 years old. So I mean, I've been doing that since birth. So that's another thing. Don't feel self conscious when all these people. You're not in a contest with anybody else. I used to feel bad when I listened to other spiritual people and stuff that would say, well, right down to the minute of the day when they got their spiritual awakening. I never had no experience like that. It was a gradual thing. I've been awakening and looking up things and learning new things my whole life. It wasn't just one day and all of a sudden, oh my God, I'm spiritually awakened. It's a gradual process.
Yes. And I think that's the same thing with me, was that in reality, my awakening was very, 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 very slow and very gradual. It's like I gradually started waking up, but I wanted to try to take all of these quantum leaps because I was hearing about the law of attraction and people manifesting what they want just like that. And I'm like, dang, man, I want to be able to do that.
Yeah,
But
well, you
what I
wasn't,
was doing,
you didn't get to start making those quantum leaps until we actually met, what, three years ago?
going on
2018?
3 years ago, yeah,
Yeah, almost 3 years ago. When we met, then it sped that up really fast. It was like one of them
yeah.
super
And
fast
that
roller
was
coasters or something that was going so fast, like, oh my God, you can't even keep up. You gotta hold on to something like, oh my God. So, You got those quantum leaps eventually.
Yeah, that's, I'm not gonna say more spiritually awakened than you. I'm not saying that more spiritually awakening you, because again, it's not a race. It's just that she's like, twice my age. Like I'm 22 years old. I'll be 23 in January. And she's been through a lot of what I've been through, and she's been able to coach me to get through it much quicker than she did, so I can prevent myself from making the same mistakes and going through the same learning curve. And I'm not gonna say that I was the best person to be around. I'm not gonna say I was the most coachable, because at the time when we first met, I wasn't. I was as stubborn as a bull. But now it's like, after making my own mistakes and running myself in circles, I've
And
learned
me
to
just
just,
throwing up my hands and stepping back and saying, you know what? Well, you got this one. You can do it. Remember? You don't need me. And pulling my energy back from him to where he started realizing, maybe I do need her. Maybe I need to come down off my high horse and get out of my ego a little bit and listen to my feminine, because she might be on to something.
yeah. And, but in all seriousness, though, guys, you have to learn to turn those negatives into positives, because just because you may start taking quantum leaps right now doesn't mean the challenges are not going to stop coming. It doesn't matter what level of consciousness you reach on your journey, you're still going to have challenges. And yeah, it may be a little bit easier to deal with those challenges because you're not as phased by it, because you've grown as a person and as a soul, and you've grown
And
in your
you
consciousness.
and you
But
and you've learned how to recover quicker.
yeah, most importantly, because you're
You've had
still
the
gonna
because
go
you've
through
learned
problems.
tools because you've learned tools and tips and ways to deal with things differently than just getting over emotional and not hitting that panic button, because things aren't near as bad as you think they are. We actually make things worse. We were talking about this today. When we panic and we overthink and we have all these scenarios coming up in our head, just because one little bad thing happens, then all of a sudden 50 other bad things is going to happen. And so we end up making it worse, because what we think about, we bring about.
Yes.
So when we're sitting here putting all them thoughts out there and stuff and freaking out over stuff we can't control anyway, we're actually attracting that in. So just the next time you go to freak out about something minor that you can't control anyway, take a deep breath, rethink it, you know, listen to a nice song that puts you back where you need to be, and say to yourself, don't worry, everything is going to be all right. I can get through this. I've been through worse than this. I can get through this. Always be there to you have to be your own biggest fan. You have to be your own hero. You have to be your own guru. You have to be your own coach. Now, I'm not advocating that we don't need coaches. I'm not advocating that we don't need gurus. I'm not advocating that we don't need therapy. But, you know, if you don't become that for yourself, then none of those external people or situations
Hmm.
or material things or anything like that is going to fulfill you and make you happy. And it's not going to help you at all if you don't have all that here already. If it's not within, then you're never going to find it without.
Yes.
So you have to keep that in mind, and you gotta change the narrative. Don't live in your emotions. Learn to master your emotions, because that's what we're here to do, to master our emotions, to master our thoughts, to master our bodies. We are here to learn, to observe things without reacting to it. to think it
Exactly.
through and respond, not react. There's a difference between responding and reacting. Reaction is from a place of emotion. You're getting too over emotional, oversensitive about a certain thing. You're getting triggered and you're reacting to it without thinking. But whenever you take a moment, you pause, you take a deep breath, you think it over in your head, and then you respond. You're responding in a cool, calm, collected way. You've observed the situation and you're responding to it maturely from a place of being a master. From It's masterful when you do it from that place. That's where we all want to get to, that mastery level. And I'm telling you, I'm not perfect. I have my moments. They're few and far in between because I mean, back in the day, I was working at a Subway. I remember, and it was a really bad area of town anyway. And they always had me working the closing shift, and I was always in there until about 11:30, 12 o'clock, closing that thing up in a really bad section of town where the parking lot was dark most of the time. It was dark, and I got held up at gunpoint, and it was me and
Hmm.
another girl that I was training. Okay, and instead of freaking out and yelling and screaming and all this, I was very calm. I told her to hide. She didn't listen. She was hysterical. See, this is a real world example of that. She was all hysterical and upset and crying and all that stuff, and I was completely calm, cool, and collected. I said, "Sir, um, the only way I can open the register is like this, and I will give you all the money that we have in here. Just give me a moment. I will give it to you." I handled the situation completely calmly, and as soon as he was gone, I called my manager. Well, I called the cops first, and then I called my manager. So I handled that situation like a pro, even though that was one of the first. Well, it wasn't my first job. That was like probably my third, maybe fourth job at the time. But I never had to deal with situations like that in any of my other jobs. That was the first time I ever dealt with something like that. And I knew, I don't know how I knew. Like I said, I've been spiritually evolving my whole life. I don't know how I knew, but I just knew deep inside that getting upset and freaking out was not going to help the situation at all. And I think the fact that I grew up in a dysfunctional home, in a chaotic home, it helped prepare me for something like that. It helped prepare me for really stressful situations. And so that's what I'm saying. If she could have got us both killed. Instead of
Yeah.
listening to me and doing what I told her to do and hiding and being quiet, she was hysterical. And like I said, doing that could have got me and her killed. And I had children. She didn't have no children. She was just a young person, but I was trying to protect her. And like I said, could have got us both killed. My kids could have lost their mother. So needless to say, I didn't go back to work for that place. And they didn't treat me good for my loyalty and my masterful way of handling that situation either. They wanted me to come back in the work the very next day without giving me any time to process what had just happened to me and everything, and really think it through. And I'm like, hey, you know what? This job ain't worth me losing my life. It's not.
Especially not in no
It's not.
subway.
Exactly. So I just said, and my boss wouldn't fire me. I told her I'm not coming back. I told her dead to her face, I'm not coming back. And she would not say, okay, well, you're fired. She just kept telling me, well, you better be here tomorrow. You better be here tomorrow. I said, well, it is what it is. And I walked away and I never came back. And now it ain't even there anymore. The location where it used to be, it's gone. It's a big old waterworks now.
Yeah. So the next point that we're going to discuss on this live is making time for your mission. And the reason why we wanted to bring this point up is because, you know, we get it. Life gets busy. Or in this case, since this whole pandemic happened and with the chaos going on, we've spent more time at home more than usual. We've had to quarantine and stay with our family members, our friends, or whoever we're staying with, or even if you're by yourself, you know, it's like we've made that age old excuse like, oh man, I ain't got time to, build a business or do this or do that. But ever since this pandemic happened, everybody was pretty much forced to stay home. So that excuse
And
is
and there's a upsurge in entrepreneurs right now in home-based businesses. It kind of like the whole pandemic thing and them shutting down everything kind of forced us into that faster than we were ready for. But a lot of people are thriving in this because they made a positive out of a negative. They said, okay, well, this may be a sign from the universe that it's time for me to do my own thing now.
yeah,
And they jumped on that, and they were able to be successful during this pandemic and build a life for themselves. But so I mean, it's way up. Entrepreneurship and home based businesses are actually really up right now. So
yeah, and
I
just
just
like
want to
with
throw that in.
yeah, and just like with us being in this situation that we're in now, is that even though this job is paying us really good and is helping us to provide for each other and to be able to fund our business, this is another sign from the universe is that we got to get back in the game of entrepreneurship, of working on trying to get this full time and making consistent income from this, so we ain't even got to worry about nothing
Yeah.
like this ever again. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to take this sign. I'm going to run with it. I'm going to do my best to stay consistent and to really carry out our plans because, and we were reflecting on this morning is that no matter what job we worked, even if there are some aspects of it that we liked, we already knew that we didn't like the idea of getting up in the morning and being on somebody else's time and having to sacrifice 8 hours a day to make someone else rich. We knew at the front end of our minds, I'm not going to even say at the back of our minds at this point because it's at the front. We can't ignore it. It's like our soul wasn't digging it. And it's like, yes, it's taken us some time to learn how to make money from YouTube and get our passive income streams up and learn the game of entrepreneurship, but it's just something fulfilling about it that keeps calling us back. We can't ignore it. We can't ignore it. Even if there's a lot of challenges that comes with it, we know that this is worth it. We know in our soul, in our entire being that it's
This is
worth
what
it.
we were born to do.
Yeah, we're born leaders, and that seems to keep coming full circle. Is that we're born natural leaders. We weren't made to work for anybody else. You know?
I just don't like being controlled by others. I mean, once you start awakening and stuff, like that 9 to 5 thing, you see it for what it is. It's a means to help build your own business up, to build your dreams up. It's not something that you want to stay in
Yeah,
because it's
exactly.
draining your life force a little bit every day. Every single day, you have to go up and you have to do things you don't want to do for somebody else because they don't want to do it. It kills you a little bit every day. Unless you go into the
Yes,
mindset
yes, yes,
with
yes.
is unless you go into it with a more positive mindset. Okay, this is temporary. This is just a stepping stone on my way to bigger and better things. And if you keep yourself in that positive mindset and everything, it don't matter what they do. It's not gonna phase you. You're gonna be like, okay, well that's them. I send them some compassion and some love, but I'm gonna keep on doing what I do. Stay in your zone, stay in your flow. You know, and
Yeah,
don't get deterred by stuff that happens. Things are gonna happen every day, all the time. It's how we respond to those things that matter. How we learn
yeah,
to respond and how to handle those things and how to recover from those things and how to use those things as a lesson to help drive us forward to the place we want to be. That's what makes the biggest difference here. It's how we respond to the things that happen in our life. Because we spend our
yes.
whole life putting this off and putting that off. Oh, this ain't the right time. I ain't got the right equipment. I ain't got um the right all the expertise. I don't have all the
Or I'm
knowledge
working
for
a
this.
lot.
Yeah, there's always going to be an excuse. There's never the right time to do anything. It's just like when,
Nope.
I mean, a great example is like when me and him met, he told me, I'm not ready for somebody like you who knows what they want, who knows where they're going. Because I had a whole plan when I met him. I'm like, I know what I want to do, I know where I'm going. And he was like, whoa, 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 hold on. This is a bit much. Um,
Yeah,
this is a bit scary. I'm not entirely sure that I want to be a part of this. But, you know, every time he tried to get away from it, his higher self would call him back and tell him, "Oh, you're wrong, man. You're wrong. There's never going to be a perfect time for anything, and you got to remember, buddy, you called this in. You asked for this.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
you
And I
asked for
prayed
this.
for it for years
So,
and years and years, and I've been, asking God or the universe, I want to partner with these types of qualities. And but when I manifested her as early as I did, I was saying to myself, this is way too early. Like I was going through a real dark period. I was doing some stuff that I, let's just say, wasn't supposed to be doing. I'm not getting into detail for privacy purposes, but I was doing a lot of things I wasn't supposed to be doing. And I was just like in a really dark place mentally and emotionally. And so, I just felt very insecure at the time. I didn't feel worthy to have her. I didn't feel worthy to step up to this role. And I had a lot, and all of my self doubt, all these doubts and fears came up all at once. But I'm saying this to all the men and women out there, twin or not, you're going to meet the one when it's divinely timed. And it may be when you're at your lowest, when you're probably like, I don't know, passed out drunk, and then you find out the person who picked you up and took you into their home and took care of you is the one for you. And you're like, oh God, I didn't expect to meet the one like this. It's like we always have this preconceived notion of what meeting, quote unquote, the one looks like. We plan it all out in our heads,
well,
but
you got to
rarely does
think
anything.
society has made us think that the one is going to come in and they're going to be glowing white and you're going to hear angels singing and all this kind of stuff, but it's not. It's really. um it's really that person that's the everyday angel that comes in that you don't notice until they touch your life. That's the person who is the one that makes you want to be a better person, the one that helps you find your morality, the one that helps you see the right and the wrong in the world. You know, the one that like I said makes you want to be a better person, that you feel better around just because they're there.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly. And so um the next point that I want to dive into is own yourself first. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because, like we talked about in 9 to 5, like when you're working for somebody else, you don't own your time. You're pretty much at the mercy of them and the paycheck that they're giving you. But if you must work a job or you must get into a temporary partnership, just remind yourself that it's just a temporary entanglement until you get to where you want to be. But oftentimes people get stuck in this trap and they get comfortable where they're at, even though
Yeah,
they have this intent
and a good
of.
and a good example of that is the Al Bundy show, Married with Children, where Al, he starts out as a teenager working at a shoe store because he wants to buy a car, and unfortunately he gets stuck there and spends his whole life working at a shoe store, so it never comes up. So, you know, if you don't have that mindset, this is just temporary, and you stick to it, and you don't hold yourself accountable to that, you can get stuck and you can't climb out of it. So just keep that in mind.
Yes, and it's very tempting, these bosses that hire us that makes us think that they're going to take good care of us. But, when a moment comes to where they have to downsize and money isn't coming in as much and they're paying you like, I don't know, $30 an hour, which is pretty dang good. I mean, who wouldn't want to get paid that? But let's say your boss's company is going under and they have to downsize. When it's time to hire somebody younger and cheaper, the first person they're going to get rid of is you because you're too expensive for them. As far as they can tell, you're costing the company too much money.
Yeah,
And
and
so they're going to.
a good example of that is the Malcolm in the Middle show. I mean, I'm sure that would be more relevant for this time period. Where Hal, you know, his 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 the company he's working for got brought up on federal charges, and they tried to pin everything on him. He had been working for them for like, I don't know, like 20 years or whatever. I don't know, 15, 20 years, long time. And whenever it came down to it, they tried to pin everything on him and claim he was the one buying yachts and having banking accounts and all these different places and stealing the funds and all that stuff. They tried to pin everything on him, and his son helped him to figure it out. Because see, Hal hadn't been to work um, on Fridays like for the whole time he's been working for them, and that's all the days that they claimed that he did these things. So you have to watch these places. Like I told Evan today, they don't make places like they used to. I mean, it used to be legacy type places, places that really cared and had integrity and valued the people who worked for them and valued their loyalty and stuff and gave them raises and helped them come up in the business and stuff and gave them some kind of security. The jobs that you see today, all the big corporate jobs and shit out there, Facebook, freaking Amazon, YouTube's, all the rest of them, they treat their employees like crap. like real legit crap. Like, and a lot of the times what they do is they just go grab somebody on Fiverr or something like that. They get a cheaper worker like from another country that works for like about 10 cents an hour. You know what I'm saying? And so they don't have to hire Americans to work.
Are actually skilled in their field because they know that the more a person is skilled in a certain area, the more money they will have to pay them. And another thing that I wanted to discuss within this point is that we're dependent because of fear. And this
Yeah.
is this has been another block of mine is being dependent on other people to always take care of me. And it wasn't until I truly left my mom's house for good that I started truly becoming independent, that I truly started buying stuff for myself. Because even though I had a job, living under my mother's roof, I was still depending on her at the same time to buy me stuff because that's comfortable. But now that I'm out of there and I'm staying with a friend right now, it's forcing me to step more into that man role of providing for myself, paying my own bills, and getting food for myself, learning how to cook more for myself, and not just asking somebody else to buy food and handle the groceries. It's like I gotta do everything now. Everything is on me.
Yeah, and a little story on that is he was telling me what he was eating, and I said, "Ooh, baby, that's that's not good enough to survive on." I said, call me and I'll go to the store with you. I mean, I can't physically go to the store with him because he's in Texas and I'm in Alabama, but like virtually I'll go to the store with you, like on video chat, and I'll try to help you. And when he tried it, he got so frustrated and upset and flustered and stuff, and he just started snapping at me and stuff, and I was like, women do this all the time, and we don't complain. We go buy the food, we come home and cook it, we take care of children, we clean the house, we carpool, we take all the kids where they need to go, we wash the clothes, we put them away, we do all these things, and we don't complain because we got to go do that. We do it because we love our family. But
Yeah,
like I told him, I said, Evan, I've been buying groceries since I was like 16 years old. I had a
yeah.
husband and a family at 16,
I didn't have none of that, nowhere
and I had
close.
to cook. I had to take care of him. I had to make his lunches. I had to wash his clothes. I was a full grown person when I was still a baby.
Yeah,
So, I told him, I said, you're going to have to suck it up, buddy. Suck it up, buttercup. People do this all the time. You can't fall apart every time you got to do something for yourself.
yeah,
And now after he's done it, he told me he feels more confident. He
yeah,
feels more independent. He feels better about himself because he learned something to do for himself. It gave him more independence. And I said, every time you do something like that, Evan, it helps you feel a little bit more free, and it pushes you further towards your goal of having your own place and your own production company and your own business. It pushes you towards that. The more and more you get independent, the more you're going to want to be even more independent and do more things that are independent, you
yeah. And
know
it's yeah, and I'm not putting everything in my upbringing, but it does have a big part to play in it because every time I
oh
tried to
man.
be independent as a kid and try to do things by myself, my mom and my family members would tell me, just stay in a child's place. The only thing you need to do is just go to school, study. You ain't got to worry about getting a job right now or try to do any of that stuff. Just go to school, study, you know, just an atypical middle class family. Just keep your head in them books, stay in a child's place. You're only a kid. You shouldn't try to grow up too fast. And yes, I was, having fun in the moment, playing games and all that stuff, but I wasn't really taking the time to learn our new skills. And had I, ignored that conventional advice and been brave enough to do the stuff that I'm doing now earlier, I would have amassed a sense of independence, and I probably would have moved out at 18 like I planned to, had I pushed myself a little harder and listened to my intuition more instead of just quote unquote staying in a child's place and just letting the adults around me handle cooking the food and getting all the groceries and doing this and that. But it is what it is. At the age of 22, I can confidently say that I am like fully independent to the point where I'm providing for my own needs and hers as well. And I've learned how to cook more meals. Like recently I learned how to cook steak and mashed potatoes, and that was like a really really good meal. And so I'm gonna just tell you guys right now, if you haven't cooked steak and mashed potatoes, it's not as hard as you think. The mashed potatoes is easier to cook than steak. But with steak, you know, that was like a real hearty meal, and I felt real my stomach was full. It was like really full this time. Like that was like another one of those meals I've cooked for the first time for myself. It's just doing little things like that, guys, has helped me, you know, pioneer that independent spirit and rekindle it from childhood. Because when I was a child, I had a dream of being independent. But now at 22 years old, I'm just now slowly but surely realizing that dream. And
And it's
so,
helping you become more of that divine masculine you were meant to be, because that makes you feel more like a man, you know. I mean, the men of the today are not like the men of old days. The men in the old days, they helped their women. They cooked right alongside their women. They helped their women clean. They complimented their women. They took care of their women. So you letting your man be a man and help teach him, if that needs to be done, teach him to be the man that's innately within him, is going to help improve your relationship a lot more. You know, instead of saying, you know what, forget it, I can do it myself, because you don't want to show them no compassion and give them, you know, time, and you don't have no patience to let them do it. You're demasculizing him. You know, I know you can open your own door. I know you can clean your own house. I know you can cook your own stuff, but let them help. You know, let
yeah.
them do things for
And
you, because it makes them feel better, and makes them um it um unlocks that part of their DNA that they were built for. They were built to take care of their woman. That's
yeah.
what they were made
And
for. And they can't, and that's been instilled within them. Every little boy was told, you take care of your mama now. If anything happens, if you out in public and stuff, you protect your mama and you take care of her the best way you can. You protect your sisters. You know, you the man now. You know, every that is instilled in every little boy, to help a female, to take care of her, to do things for her. So when you take that away from him, that usually kills a relationship. When you take that ability away from him, it kills his masculinity. And that's usually when
yeah,
relationships fall apart, and he goes upon somebody else who needs him. A man wants you to need him.
yeah. And just to speak on what she said, growing up in my family, I grew up around predominantly masculine women who always did for themselves. They would always tell me, oh, a man pays his own bills, he provides, he does this and does that. And anytime I've showed even a teeny tiny shred, It didn't even have to be a whole lot. A teeny tiny shred of being a true man and trying to do things for myself, they will always backtrack and say, no, stay in a child's place. Just stay in school. You ain't got to worry about that until you graduate school. It was always school, 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 school. That's all they kept hammering into my head. That's all they kept telling me. They would be saying one thing, but their actions
They
prove
wasn't
that they
practicing
didn't
what
want
they
me.
preached.
Yeah, and then they didn't want me to truly embody a man because they know if I did, that will change the whole family dynamic and that will shine light on their own insecurities. So they've done this for years and years and years of trying to suppress all the men in the family in general. But, I was one of the lucky ones to escape that and to truly rise up into that because I'm just be honest. I have a lot of family members that are in jail, dead, in gangs, alcoholics, drug addicts.
And
But
tell them what your family did whenever somebody went to jail or became an alcoholic or started doing things that they didn't approve of.
oh yeah, especially if one of my family members go to jail, they'll be like, "Oh, we don't visit jailbirds." And when for example, my Uncle D and Uncle Wayne were on alcoholic, there were serial alcoholics. They passed away years ago. Like Uncle D passed away in 2010, and my Uncle Wayne passed away in 2014. They were just looking down upon them and saying, mean stuff about them. But yet y'all raised them in that type of toxic environment, which led them to want to go do drugs. And just like, my cousin Theron, he's on drugs real bad. He's cheated on his wife left and right. He's been in and out of jail. He's still drinking alcohol and he has messed up teeth. Why? Because they grew up in a dysfunctional environment of victimhood,
Not to
lack
mention
mentality.
exactly that, and they were indoctrinated with being racist. They was indoctrinated with the victim mentality. They was indoctrinated with religion to control them.
Mm-hmm.
There was so many really bad things. I mean, I remember one time Evan recorded a conversation his grandma was having with him, telling him, "The white man can't teach you nothing, Evan." And she was also saying some very derogatory things towards me that
Yeah.
I don't want to, repeat. But I mean, this is what they, and I was like, oh my god. After I heard that, I told him, I was like, oh my god, no wonder you're the way you are. That's really what you had to deal with growing up and stuff. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I had so much more compassion for him then, and I was like, man, that's messed up. I had a bad
Yeah.
childhood and stuff, but even mine wasn't that bad.
Yeah, not to mention, when I was a little kid, like when one time I back talked my mom, I was about like 6, 7, or 8. And I remember this. This was in my grandma's house years ago, like late 2000s, mid to late 2000s, I think. And I remember I was on the floor and then I said something to piss my mom off. And she took her hand and she wrapped it around my throat and she was like, "You want to get smart with me, huh? You want to get smart with me?" Just really gritting her teeth, and she's looking dead in my eyes, like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. It's real shocking. I was not 6 feet tall. I was still a big kid, but yeah, like that's still intimidating for a kid to go through. And she's a prime example. Like I'm not trying to chop my mother down and say, you know, she's a B and this and that. I'm just saying part of what I went through. And
Well,
she
we
didn't,
like to look at people like that and give them compassion and love because they don't know what they're doing.
yeah, and like I
Just
didn't
like it says
realize,
in the Bible, they know not what they do. They're not awakened yet. They don't understand the harm that they're causing. I mean, you can understand it now because you're older and you've done some work on yourself, and you can see how that was, and what happened. But back then, when you're a little kid, yeah, that is very shocking and it is very scary.
Yeah, and so that amongst, being whipped with a belt, of course, and, getting
Oh
hit in the
man, I
mouth
got whipped with
for
whatever my
being
mom could pick up: a shoe, a
same.
brush, a cord, a bunch of switches wrapped together, a thorn bush, man, anything and everything. It was
Sorry, I was
horrible.
waving at the cat. I was waving at the cat and it's walking towards me.
We gotta say hello to everybody. Show everybody the cat, baby.
You hear
Yeah, I hear her.
it?
That's a girl, right?
Yeah, it's Lady. Now she's going back downstairs. I was trying to wave at her to come up here, but she had other plans. But
She was shy.
anyways, yeah. Anyways, I was saying, just going through being whipped as a kid and going through the mental and verbal abuse and being gaslighted and, them calling up, my Uncle Kier to bully me and to intimidate me, and just going through all that all that trauma has made me fearful, and it's made me into like this soft-spoken, timid guy who doesn't stand up for himself, who doesn't take care of himself, and is constantly dependent on
Hell, even
people.
when you was
Now,
a
I'm not
grown
saying that
man,
they're
hey, even when you became a grown man, when you was in college, if you raised your voice or whatever, she would tell you, "Boy, you better take that bass out your voice when you talk to me. Like you're not a
yeah,
boy anymore. You're a grown man." And that's
yeah,
what I
and
started telling Evan. I said, "Evan, baby, they treat you like a child. They don't treat you like a grown man. You know."
yeah, and it's yeah, and like just going through all of that, you would think that, hey man, this guy just should have escaped from that years ago. Yes, you're right. But at the same time, like I said, I still had those deep ingrained fears, which kept me coming back to the same old toxic environment, to where, later on this year, I just finally had enough. I had enough of the toxicity. I had enough of being mistreated. I had enough of being treated like a kid, even though I'm way past my adolescence and I graduated high school 3 years ago. And I just got extremely sick of it, because it was destroying my life, it was destroying my relationship, it was destroying everything that, I wanted. It destroyed any type of happiness I wanted to build with my significant other, and I
And that's
decided
the
to
that's
finally
a
get out and
really
stay
bad
out.
and that's a really bad thing about the black community, about a lot of the Hispanic community. A lot of these communities where they think, your family is everything. And that's not always the case sometimes, because a lot of times your family can be the worst thing. You know,
Yeah, they can be the
sometimes your
worst.
family is just meant to be um temporary. They're meant to teach you something. And then when you grow up older, you're meant to go out there and learn things for yourself and make your own family, with friends and stuff, and with coworkers and different people. You're meant to go out there and make your own family with others. And not to say that, if your family was healthy and they did support you and things and they did you right, yeah. But if you come from a very dysfunctional family and stuff, it's hard to, you know, stay in that if they're not willing to heal with you.
Yeah,
Hard to stay close to those type of people. I'm not saying cut ties with them completely, but I would say limit your time with them. Set up some boundaries. so that you can start to heal from that and start to work on that so y'all can both be in a better place.
Yeah. And the last point that I want to touch on before we end this live, because we've been on here for some time, is to cultivate mental freedom. And the reason why I wanted to bring up this point is because, even though I physically have gotten away from my family in the past, mentally I still wasn't free. So it wasn't about me escaping my environment physically. I had to escape it mentally first before I finally escaped physically. And that was the biggest mistake that I've made in my previous attempts, is that mentally I was still enslaved. I still was in the prison cell with bars I couldn't see. And so until I started cultivating my own mental freedom away from my family at the last few days that I stayed with them, it was that, I felt confident that I can truly stay out, that I don't have to depend on them anymore. And, I know she said just now that you don't have to cut ties with them. I decided to cut ties with them for good. I blocked their numbers. I blocked them on social media. I blocked them on every freaking
Tell
thing.
them, tell them why though.
And the
Tell
reason
them
why I
why
did
you
it
had to do
was,
that.
yeah. And first off, before I get into that point, this was something that I never imagined myself doing. I did not want to do this for the longest time. I still wanted to hold on to hope that my family could change, and I really love them unconditionally. And these are the people that I grew up with my whole life.
And also, I want y'all to understand, I did encourage him to heal. I gave him different techniques to use and different strategies to help heal within that dynamic and stuff. And every time he would use these tips, like with his mother and sit down and talk to his mother and stuff like I would tell him to and have a heart to heart with her, she would listen to what he had to say, or she would appear to be listening, and then the very next moment she would do the same shit that he just talked to her about over
Yes,
and over and
exactly.
over and over and over again. She would do the same stuff over and over and over and over. And I told him, I'm not encouraging you to cut ties with your family. You do what you feel you need to do, and I will support you with it. I'll
Yeah,
stand by you.
and believe me, I've tried my hardest, guys. I've tried my hardest to try to rebuild a relationship with them. I've tried setting boundaries. I've tried, telling my mom, like, hey, what my family members are doing
Tell
is,
her, tell her what they did when. Tell her what she tell them what she did whenever you tried to quit college that time.
oh yeah, when I tried to quit college the first time, she definitely got mad. And when I told her what I spent my refund money on, she was expecting me to automatically give it to her, but I didn't. I bought this mic setup. You can't see it because the way my camera's set up. I bought my own audio equipment, and I bought FL Studio to record voiceovers and stuff. And she completely flipped out. And as soon as I got home, she gave me the silent treatment the whole ride home. And then she called up my family members like she usually did, and she took one of my boom poles that you use to hold up the directional mic, and she took that, and I was standing on one of the top stair steps, and she was trying to swing it at me, and I almost fell back. And if I would have fell back, I probably would have broke something and would have been hospitalized. But she didn't care, And I tried having a heart to heart conversations with her about, you know, what I feel uncomfortable with and what I've noticed. And that she would pretend to be listening for a moment, and then she'll go right back to doing the same old stuff over and over again, like she said, pardon her French. But I've had numerous talks with my family. I tried to set boundaries. I tried to let them know what I'm doing. I told them straight up, I'm dropping out of school. And when I did drop out of school, they flipped out again. And even though I told them, I gave them a clear warning shot. I told my mom straight up in her face, I am dropping out of college. I didn't even at that during Thanksgiving of last year, I was asking for
And
permission.
you didn't tell them though. You didn't tell them though how she had all your family members, even your estranged father, and stuff, your uncle, your grandpa, your grandma,
Everyone,
everybody, your cousins call you and
again and
bless you
again and
out.
again. Yes,
And
yes,
your
and
grandma
that's
threatened to come up there on campus and drag you out and stuff like that. This is
yeah. It was extremely terrible what they were doing to me.
even this time. Whenever he just cut ties with them and moved out, they were being aggressive towards him this time too, and saying a lot of things to him, and even tried to contact me
Yeah, because
and
like
get
for
me
one
to
thing,
tell them, try
I forgot to
to
light my
bully
old
me.
phone.
Yeah, and bully me into telling them his location, where he was at and stuff. I told him, look, you know what? For one, please don't talk to me like that, you know. And for two, that's between you and him. That ain't got nothing to do with me. That's between y'all. I'm not involved with that.
Yeah, you know, and
You
she
know, and
told me
she
this
started
while
getting
I was at.
irate and stuff, and he got very upset that they called me up, her and his mother and his aunt, and tried to like bully me and be ugly towards me to tell them where he was at. And I was like, uh-uh. That's
Yeah,
his story to tell. That's not mine.
yeah, and I was extremely horrified when I heard that. And so after I got off work, I decided to sign into my iCloud account and wipe the phone from there so that they couldn't call nobody else. Nobody else. And you know, it was unfortunate that that went down. But you know, and I still even had my grandmother call me 9 times in a row a week or two ago, even though I blocked her number and I made sure to install a call blocker on my phone just to be safe on my new phone, just so I would stop getting calls from her. Because when I cut ties with my family, when I said I cut ties with them, I freaking meant it this time. I wasn't BSing around anymore. I wasn't gonna allow. I was pulling back every single drop of my energy to make sure they get none. Not even a tiny droplet. Not even a mustard seed size. You ain't getting nothing. I decided to get away from them completely, and that took some time to do. It took me a lot. It took a lot to get me to this point. But once I did it, I never looked back. And I'm glad that I did. And
Well, it's
whether,
more about it was a lot of things that led you to the point where you was fed up. Like, I sit with you while she said things like, I don't give a damn about your dream, and watched you while she attacked you when you wanted to quit school. I watched her low rate you on just about a daily basis, and low rate me and all this stuff. But and I seen her take your money and spend it selfishly on her, so when she made more than enough money to handle herself, I watched her all this time. And it wasn't until the point where you had done sit her down and told her more than once, Mom, I'm trying to save up to get me a vehicle so I can actually go around and look for jobs and stuff like that. And it got to the point where he was having to use Uber and Lyft and all that stuff to go to work because she didn't even want to help him with a car. I mean, she could have let him take her to work every day and use her car. She didn't even want to help him get his license or nothing. And then it got to the point where, she knew she had to have back surgery. She had been telling Evan for a while that her back was hurting. She knew
yeah,
that she needed
I
surgery,
feel
and
like
instead
I
of
need to
putting
tell them
in,
this.
okay, go ahead. Well, I was going to say about the she knew she was going to put in. Instead of her putting in for medical leave, she just used her off days, and then you can take it from there.
Yeah, and so she knew that she was having back trouble. She knew for a while. She knew that she had to get the surgery, and she knew that how long it was going to take for her to be out of work and recovering. And then all of a sudden, my aunt, with her messy self, she's messy, and my cousin Kayla's messy. They're both messy. They're carbon copies of each other. It's like thing one and thing two from Cat in the Hat. But anyways, you know, with her messy self, she's saying you're gonna have to step up and pay bills. And at that moment, I said, F this, F this. I'm so close to realizing my goal that I'm not gonna compromise it this time. And so I started searching high and low for hotels, um, brothels, what you name it, I was looking. I was calling up places to see how much it was gonna be to stay weekly. I got to work right then and there on coming up with an exit plan. For real this time, not just saying it and then just going right back on the couch, watching Netflix, playing a game, doing what I do. Like I was focused. I was extremely in the zone. I called up all my friends, and I just did what I had to do to get out of there. You know what I mean? And so I just was fed up at that point. Like I hit rock bottom emotionally and spiritually and mentally. And I said, I got to get out of here this time. I got to stay out this time because my back was so up against the wall. I had nowhere else to go. And I just said, I got to do this not only for my own mental and emotional health, but for the health of my relationship. And so I decided to get out. I decided to hash a exit strategy to get out of there and get out of Dodge because I didn't want to be responsible for paying her bills when she knew she needed to have different streams of income in place. She should have already had her
Plus
stuff
she
together
already, and plus you had
financially.
your aunt living there who had a husband that had his own business, and your cousin had a job, so they could have stepped up and helped. You know, I mean, they had been staying there for months and months and months and barely paying anything to live there
Yeah,
and stuff, and they wasn't making no attempt to get out.
not at all. They've been staying there since October of last year, September or October of last year. And so now it's almost the end of the year. They're probably still staying there. And, my aunt recently lost her job altogether. My cousin is still working. So,
I don't know.
that's
Your aunt might
that's
have got another job by now. Who knows?
probably. But the point is, during that time that she was unemployed, she was just kind of sitting there, just doing nothing, not really contributing much. And I just said, you know what, I can't stay around this no more. You know, and I say all this to say that I not only cut ties with them, I also had to cut ties with the old part of me that resonated with that toxicity. That was the missing link right there. Was that I was trying to escape the environment without trying to cut ties with the old version of me that put up with that toxicity.
You
That's
was
what
trying
I
to
had to get
escape
rid
it
of.
without detaching from it.
Yeah. And so let my story be a lesson to all of y'all. If you start noticing, you start seeing signs that your family members or anybody close to you doesn't have your best interests at heart, and they will rather destroy you than rather see you succeed, make sure to cut ties, with that version of you that resonates with that toxicity, and make sure to cultivate that mental freedom a lot sooner so that when you do finally escape physically, you would stay out and you wouldn't flock back to them or subconsciously sabotage yourself into going back there. Because until you get rid of that old version of you that resonates with that toxicity, you'll just be stuck in that loop of abuse and neglect and dysfunction over and over and over again. So, guys, if you want to have more peace of mind, you must do this. I know it's going to be uncomfortable. I know it's going to be frightening to do stuff on your own. I know it's going to be frightening to give up those false comforts. I know it's going to be frightening to give up that false sense of security. But trust me, on the other side is way more freedom and way more security than you could ever imagine. And you'll be, you'll thank yourself later for making that decision to cut ties, not only with the version of yourself that resonated with the toxicity, but also cut ties with the people that have put you down for so freaking long and just spewed all of that toxicity. You got to do it. You got to do it, guys. I don't care how hard it is right now. I don't care we're going through a pandemic. I don't care that it may not feel ideal and you may be scared crapless right now. You just got to do it, man. Yeah, this is a real heavy topic, but it has to be done.
Yeah. And I was always the one encouraging them to give them the benefit of the doubt and, you know, and try to make amends with them and stuff. But whenever only one person is trying and the other side isn't, you just burn out really fast and you drain yourself and you become depressed. And, you know, when you can't relate to other people and they're not even trying to relate back with you, they're, it's a hard situation. So, you know, if something is detrimental to you and you're suffering, don't suffer in silence. Try to get out of it. Try to get the help
Yes.
that you need. You know, they have programs and stuff like that. Just look in your uh local area and stuff and see what kind of benefits that are offered and stuff that where maybe you can get out of it. They have housing, they have food assistance, they have all kinds of resources that they can help you with. Don't stay in a bad situation if you don't have to. Try to get out.
Yeah, and if you have to, push yourself extra hard. Even if your subconscious is telling you this ain't gonna work, or think about all the comforts you have to leave behind. Yeah, you're gonna be uncomfortable in that moment, but you would rather be uncomfortable in that moment moving towards being more independent than to stay comfortable in a toxic situation and be depressed all the time, because that's where I was at. I was depressed. I had little to no motivation to do anything that I wanted to do because I was constantly surrounded by that toxicity every single freaking day. And so I finally, like I said, I escaped, and I'm not looking back. I'm glad that I got off the plantation, away from people with that slave mentality. And is there anything else you want to say, my love, before we end this live? Because we've been on here for a long freaking time.
Yeah, well, I wish we could have took some questions and everything else if that would have been possible to see some of our live chat messages and stuff. But I do hope you go and answer some of them tonight this time.
Yeah,
If
there is
there are
none.
some.
There is none right now because I've been looking at the live chat this whole time from my phone, but nobody
Okay.
has commented. But if they do, I'll make sure to go in and answer any questions
Well,
anybody has.
hopefully later they'll catch it later and they'll comment and all that stuff. We want y'all. We're really appreciative if y'all can, like we said, subscribe. To all our social media platforms. Donate if it's on your heart. Please share all our content and stuff with somebody you think really needs it, or just with everybody. Whatever's on your heart. Um, And remember, we got more things coming, and I personally send you lots of love and light and unconditional love and protection and healing energy, positive, bright, beautiful energy. I love everyone. And I want us all to come together in unity and become a big happy, family together, a big happy community, all working together to help each other.
Yes, 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 yes. So if you guys do need some encouragement, man, or if you want some, or if you need some friends to talk to, make sure to go ahead and talk to us. That's why we link all of our social medias in the bio or in the description. I'm thinking of Instagram right now when I said bio, but that's why we leave all of our social media links so you can get in touch with us personally if you need help, if you need counseling, if you want a friend to talk to, or if you want some advice. We're here to do that because we know what it's like. We've dealt with toxic family members. We've dealt with, people trying to antagonize us. We dealt with fake friends. We've dealt with feeling lonely on this journey. We don't make these for our own benefit. We make these videos for the benefit of all, to tell our story, to let our light shine, and to help guide you, the person that's having this conversation with us.
To show
You
you
know what
that
I'm
there's
saying?
hope, and to keep your faith and to keep your hope, and to give you tips and tools to make it through any situation and come out
Yeah,
better on the other side.
yeah. And anyways, we're gonna wrap up this live. We taking up a lot of you guys' time. Like, if you stayed up until this point, you are a real warrior. Because
You are a superhero.
yes, we touched on a lot of deep topics, and we know how short people's attention spans are nowadays. But we're just gonna say, we're grateful that you spent this time with us, and that for any donations that you may have left during or after this live, or if you simply gave us a like, or if you just simply gave us like at least 5 seconds of your time, we highly appreciate that. And we appreciate you also if you stayed the whole time and watched it from start to finish. That lets us know that you're really about your spiritual path and you're really serious about changing. So
and you're really serious about supporting us.
yes. And with that being said, peace in and out with the highest vibes, and I'll catch you guys later. We'll catch you guys later.
That's right.